The sound of waking up was a familiar start to Mia Thompson's morning routine. As she was making her coffee, the sound of birds singing and away traffic created a relaxing atmosphere. Mia was blind, but her other senses were sharp, so she was able to see clearly and confidently in her surroundings. Fresh flower scents filled her small apartment. Mia received a bunch of flowers as a gift from a nearby flower shop, which realized Mia's extraordinary talent for understanding human nature in ways that others were unable to. But today was not like that. The breaking news of Richard Harlow's murder destroyed peace of mind. Shock and fear were in the air in the town. Being a successful businessman, Richard's passing left a huge gap in the community. Mia's phone was continually ringing with messages from friends who were upset. She noticed feeling uncomfortable in the town as she looked over them with her personal viewer. Rumors were increasing in the local news, and they came on like fire. Laura, a close friend of Mia's, was especially upset. After Laura and Richard separated, she ended up in the eye of a storm. Mia realized the seriousness of the situation and realized that she would soon be tested in ways she had never dreamed of due to her special abilities. Laura gave Mia a frantic call the day after Richard Harlow was killed. Her voice was shaking from fear. "Mia, I'm in jail. They believe that Richard was killed by me." Mia felt a shiver run down her spine from Laura's words. She went straight out to find Detective Sam Williams, the case's lead investigator, after promising to help. Sam was an experienced detective with a track record of resolving complex cases. He consented to meet with Mia after learning of her remarkable talents. Mia met Sam at the police station. Sam was a tall, strong man with a deep, thoughtful voice. He gave a detailed explanation of the case and expressed sadness at the absence of honest eyewitnesses. "I think Laura is innocent," Mia said with confidence. "I need to speak with her and the others involved in the process." Despite his doubts, Sam agreed to let Mia help. Together, they gave multiple possible people of interest, such as Mark, Richard's business partner, and his lonely son, Ethan. Mia noticed layers of fraud and hidden motives that would take all of her skills to expose as they talked through the case. Mia's first duty was to go to a past service for Richard, which was taking place at his property. There were nervous eyes and conversations everywhere you looked. Mia took advantage of the chance to get a close-up look at the main suspects with Sam by her side. She gave careful attention to their voices, picking up on minute changes in rhythm and tone. Mia got worried when she noticed Mark, Richard's business partner, speak with a calculated peace of mind. Richard's son, Ethan, spoke less. His voice was filled with anger and hurt so much. Mia noticed how the guests talked with one another as well, picking up on revenge and hidden partnerships. As the evening went on, Mia arrived to talk with a number of guests in order to collect a short amount of information. She saw Mark's pretending of loyalty and saw a hidden motive behind Ethan's jealousy. With each exchange, the puzzle was put together, showing that Richard's murder was not as simple as it first looked. Once back home, Mia's mind was filled with all of the new information. The case started to take shape, but the more deeply she worked, the more dangerous it appeared to be. Even though she was aware that the journey ahead would be difficult, her commitment to finding the truth only got stronger. Sam and Mia started looking more carefully at Richard's connections to the criminals, both personally and financially. They found that Mark was involved in multiple doubtful transactions that raised fears of financial fraud. Problems related to Ethan's intentions were also sparked by his close connection with his father. Nobody failed to take notice of Mia's investigation. She found a handwritten note that said, "Stop going, or you'll never recover from it," hidden under her door one evening as she was getting home. Even though it was clear that there was a danger, Mia's resolve only became stronger. Sam agreed to improve security around her after she showed him the note. Mia continued to collect data in the face of the risk. She went to a different social gathering, which was organized by one of Richard's business partners. She heard someone talking there who looked to be referring to a long-running dispute between Richard and an unknown individual from his past. Slowly but surely, each piece of the puzzle was fitting together to show a network of fraud that went deeper than the very first suspects. Even when Mia's belief was put to the test, she kept going. Even as the dangers against her increased, every clue brought her one step closer to the truth. She understood that the secret intentions and confusing relationships of people in the area around her had the key to solving the murder. Mia provided Laura with a visit to jail, identifying the need to clear Laura's record. Mia's peaceful presence offered a little comfort, given Laura's unhappy tone of voice. They talked about Richard and the events of the day before he was killed. Laura disclosed that Richard had been acting strangely, as if he were in fear that someone was watching him. Complete with new viewpoints, Mia and Sam made the decision to question Ethan about his hidden plan. They found him at a lonely cabin on the other side of the town. With a voice that stopped between sadness and anger, Ethan was nervous. While Mia could not quite put her finger on it, she had the feeling that Ethan was hiding something. They then focused on Mark. Mia set up a meeting with him with the intention of talking about Richard's business dealings. She noticed small clues during their talk, such as fears and tone changes, that Mark was deeply involved in an unclear activity. Her doubts were more created by his delayed responses to her clean questions. Mia and Sam both noticed the investigation's heavy impact on them as they left Mark's office. Mia had the responsibility of finding the truth because the suspects had hidden important information. With every interview, they became closer, but the mystery also increased, and Mia realized just how complicated the network of lies actually was. Mia and Sam experienced a great deal of anger with the case after a promising clue came out to be a dead end. The pressure to find the real killer was increasing as time ran out. The news coverage of society's ongoing tensions did nothing to increase the fires. Mia started to experience tension in her personal relationships as a result of her involvement in the case. When all of her friends asked her to back off out of worries for her safety, Mia was unable to get free of the feeling that she was about to make an important decision. She looked over her notes and conversations, for hours at a time, trying to find the one missing piece. Mia noticed an important discussion taking place at the nearby restaurant one evening. While talking about Richard's business dealings, two men brought up a name that had not been mentioned before: Nathan. This fresh result brought up the possibility of a link to a bigger financial fraud network. After Mia gave Sam the information, they made the decision to look into it more. Mia was still strong in the face of increasing pressure and threats. She had a gut feeling that the solution was close at that moment. She got herself ready for the next steps, aware that each result would take her closer to exposing the murderer and removing the plan that had taken Richard's life. Mia and Sam looked into the background of Nathan, an unknown person from Richard's past, after becoming aware of a new belief. They became aware that Nathan and Richard were involved in a number of doubtful businesses that had failed. The connection gave a new angle to the investigation, increasing the possibility that the murder had been motivated by strong tensions. With a view to finding out more about Richard's business dealings, Mia set up a meeting with Nathan. Angry speaking, Nathan, a 50-year-old man, agreed to meet even with his doubts. Mia could feel the fear in him, as well as the frustration he was feeling, as they said. Richard was actually blackmailing him over a failed investment, he disclosed, but he rejected any role in the murder. More about Richard's troubled past came to light as Mia and Sam continued their investigation. Over time, Richard built up a number of enemies, each with a different reason for wishing for his death, as was soon found. With every new event that brought up more questions, the investigation turned more and more difficult. As they continued to search, Mia became more aware of the truth of the lies related to Richard's life and death. Every piece of information looked to point toward a more unclear truth in this far from simple case. Mia was aware that she would need to solve this network piece by piece in order to find the murderer. The charges against Mia got more serious as the investigation went on. When she got home one night, her apartment was recently broken into. The message was simple: back off, given that nothing important was taken. However, when the local police and Mia's friends came together to support her and increase security, the threat remained the same. Mia and Sam came up with a scheme that fooled the murderer into sharing their identity. They made the decision to invite all of the main suspects and anybody else related to the case to a charity function that would be held at Richard's property. The event gave Mia the perfect cover to watch relationships and was a trap. Mia spoke with the people during the event, using her serious senses to pick up on unspoken feelings and conversations. She introduced herself to Mark and kindly questioned him about his recent actions. His answers were clean, but they didn't have something that Mia could always tell. As a result, Ethan showed up more nervous and upset, with his jealousy toward his father just hidden. When Mia brought the primary suspects together in a room to talk about Richard's past, the evening came to a close. She started outlining the proof she collected, pointing out motives and calling attention to mistakes. She kept a close eye on everyone's reactions as she spoke. The closer Mia's words came to the truth, the more nervous the room got. The murderer finally gave in to the pressure and made an important mistake, an uncontrollable move, and a brief expression of panic. Mia's trap had been successful. She had discovered the killer, clearing the way for a satisfying end. When the case started the next day, the courtroom was packed. Mia was called as the principal witness, and the prosecution's case was heavily based on her statements. She described what she had seen, going into detail about the suspect's actions and the proof she had collected. The entire courtroom was listening carefully to Mia's evidence. She went on to detail her ongoing doubts she had about Mark and Ethan, but it was what she said about Nathan that made headlines. She talked about how Richard attacked Nathan with threats of violence over a failed investment, which had started a series of incidents that ended in the murder. Mia's skills and knowledge were called into question by her opponent during cross-examination. On the other hand, the judge was highly impressed by Mia's logical and collected answers, as well as her clear knowledge. Her evidence brought to light the lies and dishonesty that had been present all over the case. Mia's continuous questioning and clever observations throughout the case ended up making the real killer lose his mind in an unexpected and shocking turn of events. The murderer declared it in front of an increasing amount of evidence, and Mia's solid search for the truth, excitingly ending the criminal case. Laura's charges have been removed after the real murderer was found. At last, the truth about Richard's death and his deeper corruption came out. The town breathed a collective breath of relief, though the news shocked the community to its core. Mia received awards for her bravery and fight, as well as for her contribution to the case's solution. But she had suffered a lot during this difficult time. She engaged with the idea that justice sometimes came at a great personal price, as she believed about the moral challenges of the investigation. Understanding that the case may never have been solved without Mia's special skills, Sam thanked her for her priceless help. Respect for one another and a common commitment to justice created a strong bond between them during the investigation. Mia gave her experiences and their effects on her life some thought after the dust was removed. She came to understand that despite many challenges and risks, her search for the truth was enhancing her beliefs in equality and purity. After the trial, Mia was left with some difficult decisions to make. With a renewed sense of purpose, she realized the significant impact the investigation could have on her community. Pulling strength from her experiences, she made the decision to keep using her extraordinary abilities to aid those in need. Mia's commitment to fighting for justice did not fail. She began to use her abilities to find facts and help the weak with nearby groups of advocates. Her story encouraged other residents to face corruption and follow justice at all costs. Mia felt confident and relaxed as she walked through the town. She was prepared to meet the challenges that were ahead, even though she knew they would always present themselves. She lived up to her responsibility as an example of honesty and morality, following blind justice with every step.